Hello traders, and this is your weekly review. So I've been getting quite a few requests on asking me what other instruments we trade. So I thought maybe what we do is get some time over the weekend and then we can run through some of the setups that I see coming forward into the new week. So without further ado, let's get cracking. So I think there's quite a few instruments we're going to getting into. So I'm going to start off with the currency pair, which is the Euro USD. Now, Euro USD, if we just condense this a little bit. I think it's pretty clear that we've been in a very strong downtrend, and then we have what I refer to as the breakout pattern, going above the highs, creating a new high, coming back down, creating a new low, and then gradually coming down into a triangle. So something is brewing, definitely something is brewing with this currency pair, and the question is, what and when? So for me, let's zoom out a bit here. There are a few things that I'm looking at. So I'm going to pop down to firstly the 8 hour and get my levels in. That is my first area there. Okay, and that is 1.08157. Okay, that's the first area of resistance that I'm looking at. And then the next area that I'm fairly keen on watching at the moment is that area there, and that is 108938. Okay, reason I'm selecting those, just look at the interaction on both those levels. Okay, now one thing that does happen here is that we have broken through this area here. We've broken to the downside. We found support, and we found support pretty much on these inside fractals here. Okay, so you can see we found support at 107667 and rallied off there straight into the 20 and 50 EMA. Okay, so those are 50 and 20 EMA moving averages. And if we just drill down now to 4 hour, which is pretty much where I'd be looking for the trades, I'm looking for areas that I can get back in, either for a retest of these two levels to the downside, okay, or alternatively a bigger breakout to the downside. So that's kind of what I'm looking for at the moment. And the only place that I can find an opportunity right now is pretty much in this area here. Okay, so we have had a sort of rejection off that level. Let's zoom in a bit more just to get the candle. So we had this range bar on Friday. So this was the jobs number that came through and just bounced around a bit and then sold off into close. So not really interested in taking a trade in the last couple of hours of session on Friday. But that's kind of the setup that I'm looking for. So either a move back up into this area where you can just pop down to the 1 hour chart and look for some sort of rejection off here. So that would be 1.08828 and upper level here 1.08938. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking for in the Euro USD and looking for a move to the downside. What would sort of destroy that hope would be a close above these levels, sort of getting a 4 hour close above, coming back and testing it, turning it into support. That would get me looking for longs. But looking at it, at what's transpired recently, I think we are in for at least another move down. And I suppose the last thing that we could possibly look at would be the Fibonacci. And you can see the 61.8 is pretty much up here, and there is a lot of interaction at the 61.8 as well. And that level would be 1.09264. Okay, so that's kind of the setup that we're looking for on Euro USD. So that's definitely in my watch list. Moving on to the S&P. So S&P 500, we've had a couple of, let me just get rid of all these objects here. Right, so we've had a couple of pretty much sideways days, and we are hovering around the 61.8, and you can see we just tagged the 150 EMA again, and this happened, just going to have to pop down to the hour. This happened pretty much after hours. We were going sideways, typical Friday price action, and then buyers came in going into the close. Now, buyers going into the close before the weekend, is it people exiting their They're short that they've been holding for a while because they're concerned of what's going to happen next week, or do they know something we don't know? So I think pretty much for me on the S&P right now, we have broken through some fairly significant levels. That's one of them. I'll give them to you now. And the next one is going to be up here. What I want to do is just head to the left here, and you'll see we have pretty much bouncing off the 61.8 and not really falling. Now, the 150 EMA for me is a critical part of my trading, and you can see on a 4-hour how this is holding. So for me, the 150 EMA indicates the trend, and right now the trend is to the upside, albeit a little bit sideways, but it's got an upside, should we say, upside bias. So those are the two areas that I'm looking at. This area up here, which is 29.72, is definitely an area of interest for me for a take profit area, and 29.23 is sort of an area that I would look for support. So if we can get back, I'm going to zoom in here. So I'd like to see it. We've got to close above it on the daily pretty much. Okay. So I'd like to see get more. Yeah. I'd like to see a pullback onto this level here. Okay. And then attack this upper area here of 29.72. I would expect a bit of a move to the downside. Let's just get this right here. So I would expect something like this, and then I would expect price to do that, and then I'd more than likely expect price to come back, probably a 50% retracement of this move or something like that, and then I'm expecting a breakout. Okay, now if we just pop across to the weekly and get rid of the noise, you'll see the next logical level on the weekly. That's the one that we've tagged already, okay, which is, let's get it up there, which is what we're aiming for. And then we have that area there. So that's probably the ultimate area that I'd be looking to tag next week, which is 30.27. Probably 3,000 as a round number would also be a good area to target for the week. Okay, this price action on the week is really just confusion. You can see buyers coming in off the 150 EMA, sellers coming in off the weekly 50 EMA, and then buyers coming back and engulfing both those bars. So anyway, I think this is turning very bullish very quickly, and that's something which we need to pay attention to. And the problem that we have here is a lot of people are sitting short. A lot of people are predicting a doom and gloom in the market, but if you read what's happening on the charts, that's not the case. And my advice to you is really trade what you see in the charts. Don't pay attention to the noise. Anyway, let's move on. Gold. So gold had a pretty good breakout yesterday. And if I can just get my lines in here. And I'm going to have to just zoom in a bit so we can just get everything correct. Okay, so you can see we've had a breakout of this area here, and that area is pretty much a consolidation triangle. Okay, now we can zoom back in and look at our levels. So you can see price moved up, down, up, and we've been consolidating, and it has broken out. Not a proper breakout, but it is a breakout nevertheless, right? So with that in mind, what I'm looking at the moment is pretty much where price is closed. This green line is where price is closed. So if I just add a level in there, and there's two areas that I want to add in because there's another one here. Okay, so what I'd like to see is price come back, and you can see on the 8 hour this is a 20 or a 50 EMA moving average. So I want to see that hold for a proper break to the upside. So that is what I'm anticipating right now. And if you look at the 4 hour, you'll see a logical choice here would be to watch very closely. And I'm just going to move this level down onto the 61.8. Gold is one of those instruments that just loves structure. And you can see we've had not no structure, we've been building structure here. Pretty strong triangle. Not a strong break, it's sort of a attempt, then a close, and then a rejection off that level back down. So the two areas that I'm watching for at the moment are going to be 1689 and following that 1690. Okay, and what I'm looking for is ultimately a break above 1723. A break above 1723 will get me to move my stop up, lock some profit in, and let that run for the week. Okay, so gold is looking pretty interesting, and I think that's something that we need to pay attention to. Only concern that I do have on gold at the moment is looking at my oscillators here. They are crossing over and moving to the downside. Okay, so this could go sideways a bit and then move to the upside, or alternatively, what we could do is get some deeper move down back onto the bottom end of the triangle, and that's another area that I would more than likely be watching as well. So let's just get that area there. That's probably going to be around there, which is 1682. Okay, so gold is looking interesting. Possibly back into the triangle and then muck around a bit more in the triangle before breaking out, or alternatively creating a higher low at the 61.8 and then a break to the upside. But either way, I'm anticipating a break to the upside, and I'm anticipating a continuation of this up move. So it's gone up, it's gone sideways, and I'm expecting this consolidation pattern to come to an end and move to the upside. Okay, targets on this are, I would look for the measured move, but because this consolidation pattern is so big, I'd really just ride it up. Every pullback, just move my stop up and ride it up until we clear each one of these previous highs in the consolidation pattern. Then you can start looking for a measured move, and the measured move should be roughly around 1,700 odd points. Okay, moving on. Euro, Japanese yen. So let's just get a weekly view of this one quickly. I'll just wait for my data to update quickly. Hopefully that happens fairly soon. But you'll see I've got quite a few sort of Aussie dollar pairs, and the only two euros I'm watching is the Euro USD and Euro Japanese yen. Those are the only two euro pairs that I'm watching right now. Now, the reason I'm watching this is on the weekly, we've got a weekly close below this previous low on the weekly. So this previous close at 115.815. This week we've broken below it, and we have closed below it. Okay, there is another area here which we need to pay attention to, and then we've got this congestion here as well. Okay, so we have 114.91, and then ultimately at the bottom we have 112.02. Okay, so those are the areas that I'm watching at the moment. So if we come back down to the lower time frames, you can see we broke through. Now I'm going to fine tune this level here. Okay, the weekly level was up there, and the 8-hour level is here. So we have broken through this. We've bounced back up. Okay, so we've actually achieved that level. Let's just move that to the downside. Broken down, moves to the upside. We are now bouncing off the moving averages again. The trend here is to the downside currently. So I'm looking for opportunities to get short on this. And first opportunity is right where we have closed. So it's been pretty structured, rejection, and then an exhaustion bar up into an area. Okay, we can still move a little bit more to the upside, and this is where I would look at Fibonacci. Okay, and I'd be looking at the 50% Fibonacci because that ties in with all of this, what was support and is now going to be resistance. We have not broken through that area. Sorry, we've broken through that area, but we haven't retested it. So you can see support, 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 support. Then we broke through, kind of test down, then back up, and then we blasted through it. We haven't come back to test that area. So that to me is something that would interest me. So the area of 116.20 would definitely interest me for a short. Nice thing about that is that short is going to have a stop loss here around 700 pip stop loss at the moment. Okay, but if you're coming down to your lower time frames around that area, and I'll give you an example now. You're coming down to your lower time frames here, watching what price action does here, you're going to get a 400-point stop loss. Okay, and I can even come down onto the hour, and that's pretty much what I would be doing, is watching on the hour to see what happens. I want to see sort of this kind of price action on the underside of this level. Okay, let's just get rid of the Fibonacci. Wait, let's just put the 61.8 in, and then we can get rid of the noise. Right. Okay, so if you look at the hour, you can see we've flipped across the trend. The downtrend has changed, and we are in an uptrend on the hour. But that to me is a retracement in the bigger trend, which is down. Okay, so what we're looking for is a revisit of 116.20. Okay, revisit there, flip down to the hour, and then looking for a move to the downside. One thing to watch out for, stochastics, when they cross like this far apart, you've got one crossover already waiting for the other one. It's pretty much another violent move to the downside. And this move was fairly strong. It's a fairly strong move to the downside that we've had last week. So what we're looking for is pullback and a move to the downside. Two target areas, obviously, to test the lows here. Make sure we don't get a double bottom here at 114.43. Get through that, and I think weekly target is 112.02. Okay, so that's definitely on my watch list. That's Euro, Japanese yen. The next one on my watch list is Aussie dollar, Swiss franc, and reason for that, again, we have to go to the weekly. This is pretty much a similar picture to the S&P at the moment. Okay, so we have kind of had a rejection on the weekly of this previous breakout, which was 0.64248. If we swing across to the left on the weekly, you'll see nothing much of interest. Okay, so nothing much there. So when we come back to the present time, you'll see that there's a bit of a rejection there. So if I just start getting down off the levels, you can see we didn't quite, so I'm zooming in here just to show you something. We didn't quite hit that level. Okay, so that level is 0.64248. So I anticipate we're going to move back into to retest this level. Okay, you can see we close to it, we were ambushed, moved down, and then back up. Now, the important things to realize here is, remember what I said about the 150 EMA? That to me is the trend. So we sort of played around with it here. The last couple of weeks, we broke up, we came back, we tested it at the beginning of this last week, and now we've broken up. We've come back to test the 50 EMA, and this is on the 8 hour, and now we're coming back into this area. So this is the area that I am really paying attention to. So a break above 0.64248 and a retest of that level is going to get me looking for longs. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, this signal here, that there is my first signal that the trend has changed. Okay, and the reason I say it's very similar to S&P, massive moves to the downside and gradually moving up, grinding up, looking for an opportunity. This area is also an area for a double top. Okay, but for the double top to play out, I'm going to want to see us break below that area there, and that is 0.61306. Okay, so excuse me. I've got a frog in my throat. Right, so those are the two levels that we're looking at the moment. Okay, so it could just range in this area next week. That's also possible. So what you want to do is get down 1 hour, possibly even a half hour at those levels. Get some alerts in on the charts to see what's going to transpire, and trade with the trend. So currently the 1 hour trend is up, but remember you've got a big area of resistance up here. So you want to see a break, a retest in a couple of hours, just hovering around this area before committing the trade with a stop below the lows. Okay, so that's definitely on my watch list for a breakout trade there. Another Aussie dollar pair is the Aussie dollar yen. Now, again, as I should have refreshed all my data before we started the video. So the thing I like about the Aussie dollar is you're trading a weaker pair against stronger pairs. So the Aussie dollar is a weaker pair compared to the US dollar or to the pound or to the yen. Okay, so here is another situation. So for me at the moment, this pair, we're looking for a retest, okay, on we're on the weekly chart now, so we're looking for a retest of 20.671. Okay, so coming back down to this area here, you can see we attempted it. That's what we're looking for. Now the question that we need to have is, are we anticipating a breakout of that area? And I would be inclined to believe that that may very well happen. So the first setup for me is as follows. What I'm looking for is any form of pullback, and there's a bit of structure here on the 4 hour right here. Okay, and that is 68.849. So I'd be looking for any form of pullback structure into this area, and then a move back up to 76.71. It's going to stay on my watch list after that move, if we get that move, because again, this trend, as far as I'm concerned, has flipped. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 touches on the 150 EMA. We've got 20 and 50 EMA crossover. Yes, oscillators are telling me we are close to a level, and we are overbought, but I do believe that that level is a little bit higher, right here at 76.71. So basically what I'm looking for is a move like that, and then a move to there, and that's a take profit area. Then it's to watch this area. If we reject this area, then there's a good probability we can move down, but I want to see a lower low before committing to that. Okay, so the reason I've got it on the watch list is for a potential breakout of 76.7. Okay, so let's go like this. So looking for a breakout here, and then I'm looking for a retest of this area, and if that holds, I'm looking for a bigger trade up. Okay, so that's the reason why that's on my watch list at the moment. But at the moment, definitely a bit of a trade to come and tag this area of 76.7. Okay, next one on the watch list is pound US dollar. Now, this thing has been going sideways for quite some time. Okay, and let's just put the other one in up there. Okay, now, one thing that is pretty clear is we have a double top here, and we have a double top neckline. Okay, this is the range. This area here is almost 50% of the range. I mean, if we run a Fibonacci on the range here, where we can see the figures, you can see the 50% is pretty much where we closed. Okay, now what's the significance of that, you ask? Let me just get rid of the noise, and then I will tell you. So majority of the time when you go into a range and price bounces up and down, up and down, up and down like this, normally what happens is it finds the 50%, and you can see there is pretty much close to 50%, close to 50%, close to 50%, 50%, 50%. Then you find rejection off that level, which gives you the move to the downside, but then there is a higher probability of a break through to the downside. Converse is true when you break to the upside, bounce off the top of the range, come down, find support in the middle of the range, and you've got a high probability of breaking out. So this thing, I don't see a trade here at the moment, but what I definitely do see is a move to the downside, an attempt back up, and a move down. The other thing that is influencing me right now is our position below the 150 EMA. So we are below the 150 EMA, which to me is a downward trend. And we also have a little bit of a crossover here on the 20 and 50 EMA. Going down for 4 hour, you'll see all my moving averages are fairly close. My oscillators are indicating that I am in overbought territory, so I should be cautious. And all these tails here, this barbed wire here is telling me stay out of the market, there's nothing happening. So what are we waiting for? I am waiting for a break of 1.22557. That is the area that I'm watching. So if we can get a break below there and a retest of that area, that's going to get me short. Okay. If we get above this area, to the upside, which is 1.26447, then I'm looking for a break, retest, and I'm long. So it has been ranging for, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks now. Okay, it could continue ranging. There's no doubt about that. It could really continue ranging. Hard to actually determine that, but there is within this range opportunities on the hour to trade with the micro trends. You can see there's a rejection of the 150 for a move down to the bottom of the range. Okay, a bounce off the bottom of the range, albeit a pretty volatile one, and now we've broken through the 150 and testing it. So on the lower time frames, there is opportunity here for a long, and when you go up to the higher time frames, it's looking more like a rejection of the 50% of the range for a move to the downside. Also, big move down, consolidation, move to the downside. What I don't like about it is all these tails. There's quite a bit indecision. Okay, but I'm putting it on the watch list because I am watching the top and bottom of this range. Breakouts there are going to get me, breakout to the downside is going to get me short, breakout to the upside is going to get me long. In the meantime, it's something to keep on the chart and watch. And I'm anticipating that this level here, which is where we've found a lot of interaction the last couple of weeks, I'm anticipating that that level holds for a move to the downside, even if it is to test the bottom of the range. Okay, so that's over. And then the last one that we have is the pound Aussie dollar. So I've got quite a few pound and Aussie dollar trades in the watch list at the moment. This one is fairly interesting. So let's just get a bit of a wider view on this. So we're going to start off on the weekly. So we broke up above this weekly level. Okay, this weekly level is 1.88435. Now, if I just look to the left, you'll see quite a bit of support and resistance around this area. We broke up above it. Now let's just get a little clearer view on these candles, because this is the one that is fairly interesting. So we broke up above it, then all this indecision. We had 3 weeks of indecision with all these tails. Then we sort of gapped down, and we've been running down for pretty much 5 weeks now, coming back into this area. Now, bear in mind what I say about the 150, and we're on the 50 EMA at the moment. Start moving into the 8 hour, and we get a little bit of a different picture. Let's wait for this to update now. Right, so when we look at the 8 hour, you'll see this is either a double bottom or we are looking to break out through this level and target levels further to the downside. Okay, my anticipation right now is for a move to the downside. And let me just, we can see the price action here. So what we're looking for is pretty much where the green line is at the moment, and that is 1.89972. So you can see, if I zoom in here, you can see price action on this area. So what I'm looking for here is a break below this and then a retest. Now the one thing that's concerning me is this next weekly level down here, which is basically 1,600 points, still a fairly decent trade to the downside that is on offer. However, I do anticipate a break. If we can get a decent break through that area and then a retest up, that will get me short. Okay, so pretty much what we're looking at, and you'll see this pretty clearly on the daily, on the 8 hour, is big move down, big move up, big move down, big confusion, still in a downward trend. We have crossed over the 8 hour, actually the 150 EMA on the 8 hour. You can see the trend is down at the moment. So I'm anticipating a break through this area of congestion. Not going to be easy and it's not going to be pretty, but the way the charts are looking at the moment, that is definitely on the cards. So one trade that was quite a sweet trade for the week, for this last week, was this retest here. So we broke through this resistance, came back to test it, and there was a short on offer there at 1.95 to 58. Okay, so what we're anticipating is the same kind of setup. So a break through this area, a pullback, come and test it, hold it, and that's going to get us short. Okay, so that's pretty much my watch list for the week. The ones that we'll be watching pretty much every single day and looking for the breakouts to take those trades. And then obviously the big one that we are watching is the S&P to see what's going to transpire here. There is so much happening here, and you can see on the daily we've got a 20 and a 50 moving average crossover here, which is pretty bullish, and we are right at the 150 EMA at the moment. So that is also that's not quite a bullish sign yet. I'd like to see a break up and a pullback on the daily onto that level, and that's going to flip my overall bias on the S&P from bearish to bullish. So at the moment I'm pretty neutral on the S&P. We are in an area of interest, and if I just use these two levels, these are the two areas for me that are going to dictate my bias. Okay, so a break above 29.76, or let's say 29.77, a break up there and a daily close above there gets me into full-on bullish mode, and a break below 2777, probably 777 Boeing. So a break below that gets me back into a bearish bias. At the moment, for as long as we're sitting in between these two levels, I'm pretty neutral. Okay, I'm not really watching this wedge anymore. I don't think it's a wedge. I think it's more of a channel. Okay, and that is something which the S&P, together with the Dax, love doing. I've just changed the lines here so you can see it. Let's make it white. Okay, so there's my channel. Okay, so that's what I basically think is going to happen. I think we're going to be back to top of channel, down, up, down, choppy action for a couple more weeks, months, until something substantial happens or some catalyst happens that's going to drive markets in a different manner. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me this weekend. I hope it helps you set up your charts for the next week. If this is the first time you're watching the video, be sure to tune in every week. Well, every week for this one, and then we're also going to do reviews every day. So we will do 3 video reviews every single day. If there's anything specific you want to see us review on a daily basis, give me a shout, and we'll try to set it up for you. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the week. Keep those stops tight, and stay safe. Goodbye.